While transfer news dominates Arsenal news recently, Arsenal finally played their first game in pre-season against Bournemouth in America. Now the lineup that Arsenal played is definitely nowhere near the best, but a lot of good youngsters and a lot of experimenters. We learned a lot about the team. And one player I think we learned even more about, and I think will be even better next season, is Jurrien Timber. And this is why I think he could be the most important new player for Arsenal next season. Let's get into it. Now, despite this being the first game of the pre-season tour and was actually a late addition to the tour as well, Arsenal got to see a lot of their players play decent minutes in a game against a good Bournemouth side who put nearly a full strength team out. Of course, most of the main players aren't back from their holidays from their international duties, but it was a really good time to see how some youngsters could work around some of the main players within the squad. Now, of course, there was star performances, I think, from Ethan Nwaneri, who I think was brilliant. I think Vieira played better. I think Lewis Skelly was good in left back. But for me, the best player, or the player that impressed me the most, is Jurrien Timber, playing at right centre back in the game and playing 62 minutes throughout it. Now, obviously, everyone expects Timber to be a key part of Arsenal's team this year, but I think what I've seen in the first two friendlies of him mostly playing centre back is going to be very interesting how we use him this year, and I think he can come in and out of the team a lot. And although this may happen, I do think he is going to be one of the most exciting players that we're going to see this year, and it's almost like we're doing the pre-season tour from last year over again. We were all very excited about him and he was brilliant in pre-season, and it's going to be the same this year that we're going to be able to see him. And obviously we hope that he doesn't pick an ACL injury and is out for the entire season, but now at least we're going to see him and actually play in the team. I think it will improve a lot of people's worries in certain positions. Now, the first thing is that Jurrien Timber's technical ability is incredible. I think he could probably play anywhere on the pitch, especially in the midfield and the defence. He is so good with both feet. You can tell that he is really two-footed, even though he is predominantly right-footed, and he is so comfortable going past players, using his pace, but using a lot of smart systems to also go past players and make different decisions. Now, in this game against Bournemouth, we actually did some different systems with him, and he was one of the main players. Now, he did play in centre-back in that right centre-back position. However, when we were getting seriously pressed and they were going to a middle to high block, he was coming into midfield and actually playing in between the lines of some of the players pressing them. This allowed him in some of the moments to spin and be able to go past a couple of players. There was a few chances that he was creating because he was making this movement through the middle of the park, and it's something he's used to by inverting at Ajax. But in this system, all game, he was playing a bit of a fluid role even though he was in centre-back position. There was a lot of moments where even the left back or the right back would go up the field into even an inverted position, or even help people on the width, creating more space out there, and he would just pick up them positions within the middle of the park. We would usually get a midfielder cover and actually provide to be that another centre-back when Timber stepped up in his position. Now, in the first half, we had the youngster Salah Oulad do this, sometimes Partey did this, but definitely a lot more fluid with him actually playing a bit more of an inverted centre-back role sometimes and actually going up the pitch. I also think in this game we were allowing Ben White to do his overlapping systems a lot more by actually giving us more security in defence. And what I mean by this is the fact that when Ben White would go up, and we can see here, he isn't really in the picture and necessarily can't get back because Bournemouth are actually a very good transitional team. This means the defence is actually quite smart, and the three centre-backs provide that cover down the right side, making Timber basically become the right back and the two centre-backs go there. Of course, this does cause some issues of not actually having a left back there because everyone's moved over and there is space for that one guy out there. But as long as you can keep confined together and all keep in the same line this time, I think it works really well. And Timber obviously can play right back brilliantly, so he does not mind this role. There's a few times he did this and he was very aggressive in the tackle, winning us the ball back. And something that he was really good at managing in this game, because he had to be the main manager of the defence, is that he was very good at making sure that the other defenders were always in the same line, or at least in a line where they could cover and make sure people didn't get in behind. He did very well to step up in many opportunities, actually win the ball back. And because he is so good technically and so good at looking forward, as soon as Timber wins the ball back where the other team are trying to break on us, it leaves the option to get a brilliant pass into midfield. And there was a few times where he did some brilliant passes into the attacking players when Odegaard came on that were into space because of Timber's awareness. He also did take control when it came to kicking the ball out. When the goalkeeper went short to Timber, there was many times where he sent an attacker going towards him, and he just looked so comfortable in the ball on that right centre-back position, despite him obviously not really playing there a lot. And he can actually step up from defence, very much what Saliba does, and can control play that gets us the ball forward. And not only does he have brilliant strength and brilliant awareness, I think one of the best things about him is that he understands when to make the pass and when not to, and I think think his technical level is so good that he can make some incredible passes. So when Arsenal attack and we get sustained possession, you see Arsenal move into a bit of a 3-2-5. Now, it's not necessarily as solid as that. It's a little bit more fluid. You get people like Odegaard will move in and out of positions, and we'll get some players that will cover for the 5 to the 2 that switch up a little bit. But he is the main player in this passing situation in the defence. Now, obviously, when you have other defenders in there, such as Calafori or even Gabriel Saliba, Timber may not be that person, but I think he's a better player like this sitting back. Obviously, he has to make the right decisions in this moment. If he gets pressed, there's at least 2 or 3 players that can come onto him, but he can always pass it through the line if he's good enough, and that's exactly what he is good at doing. And he was very good at just making sure that he'd keep the ball, do little 1-2s and make things tick along until he would see someone like Odegaard in space where he would do a brilliant ball in behind. And this ended up getting the team a lot more forward, and when the team can put pressure on other teams even further and further and further up the pitch, it allows us to box them in, and Timber is a very good player to making sure people don't get out. Now, he did do a few fouls in this game, but they were very tactical when a team actually got past us and they were trying to break, so he's using his physicality to good efforts. And overall, in the 62 minutes that he played, he was very much involved in the game. He made 28 out of his 32 passes, he had 36 touches, he made 4 passes into the final third, which I think we'd like to see a little bit better attack and play, but considering it's the first pre-season and he just started centre-back, I will give it off to him, and I think he's going to make better and better. But defensively, he was brilliant. 5 recoveries, 7 defensive actions, 1 interception, 2 headed clearances, 2 clearances and 1 block. He didn't actually have to make a tackle in the end, but he was so comfortable on the ball that I think it helped the youngsters around him. And I think when you get a better connection between players, which we will get when the main team comes back a lot more, then I think this is only going to improve. Now, of course, we know Timber can definitely play right back or left back for the team where he inverts, and he's brilliant on the ball, and he can clearly play his right centre back role very well, maybe even left centre back. Obviously not really an issue now with Calafori coming in, but I do think also there is definitely an argument to be made that he can play in midfield. If we really needed to play a player in that left centre midfield spot, he has the ability to push forward and drive past players with progressive movement, but more importantly, he's actually a very good passer, and he can actually find players between the lines and make good and smart decisions. Now, going forward, he's not probably going to be the most creative player in the world, so he isn't going to take that burden too much off Odegaard, but he could always help things tick along, and he can always help Odegaard get the ball more, which could be more important in certain games that we play. Especially against smaller teams in the league, it definitely could be an option in midfield, and it's a better option than having someone like Zinchenko in midfield, who people wanted there for a long time. Now, obviously, I expect Arsenal to probably go out and sign another midfielder. We've been linked to a few that I've spoke about and probably will continue to speak about, but Timber could be another option there. And obviously, we had brilliant performances this game by people like Ethan Nwaneri, who I think is a brilliant player that has a great opportunity, and Fabio Vieira, who we're all hoping this could be the year he gets good, because it's probably make or break. Let me know in the comments what you think about Jurrien Timber. Do you think he's going to start the season? Because there's still been a lot of debate about that, if he's going to actually start with Calafori coming in. And do you think he could be experimented in other positions, or do you like where he is, and do you think he should play in that centre-back role when Saliba can't play every game, or playing full-back to take the burden off Ben White, who had a knock for a lot of last year? Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe for any more Arsenal content, and I'll see you in the next one.